Hi everyone, this is Carolyn Speaks, the State of Our World, on Saturday, July 11th, 2020. So what is it? Let's find out. Alright, now, as of this evening, we have 3,033,733 cases in the U.S. We have about 134,000 people who have passed away from the virus. We still are reporting shortages of personal protective equipment, ventilators, respirators, and other medical supplies needed to fight this virus. Why, at this stage in the game, we're still having shortages of these items? We still have vulnerable populations of veterans and veterans homes, people living in assisted living homes, retirement homes, and nursing homes. And we have the homeless living in shelters or on the streets. We have farm workers, migrant workers in detention centers, agricultural workers working close together in the fields and traveling close together, living close together. We also have people who are first responders, healthcare workers, essential workers, such as grocery store workers and truck drivers transporting the goods. So we have a lot of vulnerable populations. We have Native Americans who are very vulnerable, who have terrible living conditions on their reservations, wherever the reservations are. Now, they did get a big win the other day with the North Dakota pipeline being temporarily shelved, needing environmental impact studies. Hopefully it'll be shelved for a few years and maybe canceled. We have the Atlantic Coast pipeline canceled. We have other things that are coming to end slowly but surely. Now, we still have protests because of the murder of George Floyd in Minnesota at the hands of a white Minnesota police officer. Race relations are still not good in this country, and still have cases of police brutality. We have an education system that has been on lockdown along with the rest of the country, and now the people on the Trump administration and his supporters and the governors who support him are claiming that we have to send the kids back to school. Schools are safe. Can't send the kids back to school until it's safe to do so for the students, the staff, and the teachers. So until we have mandatory testing of everybody to find out who has the disease, treat them, trace their contacts, etc., and quarantine people, we'll never really know how many people have the disease right now. And then if you don't know who has it, you can't fight it. Things are going case by case in this country, and it's been mishandled since the very beginning. Now, we know that Trump didn't create the coronavirus, but he didn't do anything to help to stop its spread once it got here. And blaming other people is not going to help anyone. So, we also have states that have thought they flattened the so-called curve, and they opened and didn't open with restrictions. The East Coast, like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, seem to have handled things pretty well. And Maryland and Ohio, but we're having spikes in states like Texas and Arizona and Florida. And those are states run by Republican governors who are trying to be like a mini Trump and support Trump or whatever he says and does, and the heck with the welfare and health of their own people. So, we have to, I think, since we messed it up from the very beginning, I think now may be the time to issue a nationwide lockdown. You only go out when you have to. You wear a mask, and if necessary, you wear gloves, and you want to protect people who are trying to do their work to make sure you have the supplies you need, food, and the services you need, and you only go out and go to the grocery store maybe once a week. And if you have to go to the doctor, or you have to go to the drugstore to pick up medicines. But otherwise, everybody should stay home. And the only people who should going out should be service people who bring the services to you. Like if you have a problem, you need a service person and that will definitely help. No people at beaches and bars and restaurants and parks. No Disneyland, no Disney World. We really have to handle this correctly. Otherwise, this virus is going to go on forever, killing more and more people every day, infecting more and more people every day. And it's just not the older people who are being affected, it's the younger people too. We've had infants recently who have passed away from this virus. So how long are people going to resist? And those who are resisting the lockdowns or restrictions in their states, who don't want to wear a mask, don't want to shelter in place, don't want to avoid crowds, want to do whatever they want, they're not helping, because the person they might kill could be themselves or a family member or a friend. So you really have to follow these guidelines. No ifs, ands, or buts. You have to do it. Now, remember when you go into school, when you started school, like in kindergarten, and the teacher ruled, and teacher controlled behavior, everybody. Well, it looks like we're going back to those days, because a lot of people in this country are acting like kindergartners, little kids who didn't know anything about self-discipline or behavior or anything. And that's what they learn in kindergarten. Unless they go to preschool, then they start learning that earlier. So anyway, we really have to embolden our leaders to do that. And if you have a leader who doesn't want to do that, just bypass them. Now, the Texas governor, for a long time, supported Trump in denying the existence of the coronavirus. And now he knows it's real, and he's instituting mask policies and shelter-in-place policies in his state and threatening a state lockdown if people don't comply. The East Coast did well. The West Coast was doing well, but now we have a resurgence in California, because the people deciding they're going to go to the beach. They don't care what anyone says, or they're not going to wear a mask, no matter what anyone says. Now, the governor California has issued a mandatory mask policy, but it's not a state law, not yet. So anyway, there are people who don't believe they have to observe any of this, and it seems to be up to, even though it's a state mandate, it's up to all kinds of business establishments to enforce that. To have signs when you come into their store, you can't enter unless you're wearing a mask. If someone tries to get in without a mask, you have them removed, if necessary, arrested. Okay, that's kind of drastic, but that's what it'll take. Remember, in 1917, 1980, we had the flu during President Woodrow Wilson's time in office, and that was started here in the Midwest, I think in Kansas, at a military base, and it spread like wildfire. And President Wilson played it down, didn't want to disturb the war effort, because World War I was going on at the time, and we were helping England in their war, and then we got involved in the war. But anyway, we lost a lot of people. Worldwide, there's millions, maybe 60 million people were killed by this virus. In this country, maybe about 600,000. So that's a lot of people. People are not expendable. So we need to obey the laws. It would help if we could all get along and stop this racism and bigotry and hate and fear being spread. We have one world to live in, and if we kill it, there's no other world. People have not figured out how to live on other planets, even though we visit other planets like the moon. But even if we figure a way of getting safely and to the moon and living there and constructing houses, etc., and all the services you need, water, electricity, gas, telephone, all the typical things you need. This is the only world we have, and if we ruin it, because we are killing the climate slowly but surely. So if we keep on doing what we're doing, there'll be no world left to live in, and there'll be some great catastrophe, and then it'll be the end. It'll be over. And when some civilization comes around in later times, they won't know our language and they won't be able to figure out what we did. Right now we go back and we research prehistoric civilizations that didn't really have written records like we do. So anyway, we really have to be environmentalists and save our planet. The planet is there for all of us, all the creatures. We're all God's creatures. No one is superior to anyone else. No species is superior to any other species. We're all equal in this world and in the great scheme of things. So, if you want to help to save the climate, stop farming that is killing all kinds of creatures and sending them off for food for people, like fish and birds and meat. Let them live. They were here before we were. And then, nothing being wrong with being a vegetarian. You can be very healthy as a vegetarian or a vegan. That's the ultimate goal. Fruits and grains and vegetables and cereals and pasta. And there are a lot of dairy substitutes like soy milk and oat milk and coconut milk and almond milk. There's an often we drink soy milk and we like it very much. We have that with our cereal. So anyway, there are definitely ways to be more healthy for you and your family and for the planet. And the Amazon is supposed to be like the lungs of the world, and if you're going to cut down all the trees in the Amazon and kill all the creatures who live there because of a short-term gain, you are helping to destroy this planet. There's a leader in Brazil, and that is his goal. He has now gotten the coronavirus, and he thought the coronavirus was a hoax, just a flu, something like that, but now he's gotten it. So hopefully things will change there. We have a president here who says the virus is a hoax. It's just a flu. It's not serious. And this president here wants to send kids back to school regardless of whether it's safe to do so or not. The children are the future. The children and their teachers are very important. So if you kill them off because of your desire for short-term economic gains and maybe some political gains, then everybody, the whole world suffers. So don't send them back to school. Be safe. Practice social distancing. Let's get a lockdown going so we can conquer this virus here. And then anyone must come, once you do conquer it, anyone comes in from another country, they have to be tested and quarantined. When this country was started, they had some health issues during the revolution in the early years of the country, as a country, and President Washington put quarantines in place, made sure people washed their hands and kept their distance and covered their mouth and their nose. And that was back in the 1700s. So now we're in 2020, so can't we do at least as much as they did, George Washington and his administration? I think we can do that. All right, now, enough of my lecture for today. Remember, this virus is here, so take care of yourself and take care of others. And remember, kindness goes a long way. Kindness goes a very long way. So, maybe it's time for a little song. How about that? Okay? All right, here we go. A song I'd like to sing, it's a short song. It's called World of Our Own. It was written by Tom Springfield of the Springfields folk trio, and of which his sister Dusty was the lead singer. She's a very famous international singing star. All right, World of Our Own. Here we go. Close the door, light the lights. We're staying home tonight, far away from the bustle and the bright city lights. Let them all fade away. Just leave us alone, and we'll live in a world of our own. We'll build a world of our own that nobody else can share. All our troubles will leave far behind us there, and I know we will find find such peace of mind when we live in a world of our own. All right, everybody, that was World of Our Own, a Springfield song. I hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for tuning in this evening for another meeting with Carolyn Speaks, the state of our world. Stay safe, take care of yourself, take care of others. Remember, kindness goes a long way. Kindness goes a very long way. All right, everyone, good night. Hope to see you tomorrow. Good night.